So, welcome to Season of Change, transforming your life by the power and the Word of God. I am your host, Evangelist Joseph Jeremiah, and I have my guest here tonight from Canada. His name is Cam Hall, a professional educator. He's a teacher that runs 2 life coaching class for daddies online. One for daddies nutrition and one to put up daddies right in their lifestyles and other things. So welcome, come home to Season of Change.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Wow, I believe the weather on your area is friendly.
Pardon?
I said I believe the weather in your area is friendly.
Yeah, right now it's quite cold. We have we have snow on the ground. We play in the snow as a family. We get to adventure in the Rocky Mountains, and that's where we like to spend lots of our time.
Wow, that's great. So let me move straight to my questions. Number one for you here. But before I do that, can you please just tell us a brief bio about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a father of 2. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Kim. We've been married for almost 13 years now. As a passion project, I started a coaching program for men back in 2015, and that program is called Fight the Dad Bod. I since started a podcast and a coaching program called DadsMakingADifference. Professionally, I have worked in education here in Canada for 17 years. I'm an administrator of a high school, teaching students. We have 1,300 students in our school, ages about 14 to 17 or 18 years old. So I love education as well. But for me, the turning point in my life came in 2022 when I had a serious health scare. And it was through that 3-month process that I found God was really calling me to make a change in my life. And that's why I started Dad's Making a Difference in 2022, was to impact men and help them live and grow spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, and in their relationships with their families.
Wow, that's great. Oh, man, that was a great inspiration starting your own podcast and helping others to live a better life. So can you share more about your journey since 2015 and the inspiration behind starting the Fight the Daddy's Book?
Yeah, so that inspiration came from my own health struggles when I was in my early 30s and trying to manage being a healthy dad, how I could be taking care of my own health while also taking care of the health of my new children. I had a daughter who was born in 2012, and at that time I wasn't doing a good job at taking care of my body. I wasn't doing a good job of taking care of my mind and my heart, and I wasn't the dad and the husband that I wanted to be. And I went through my own coaching journey. I hired a coach and mentor who came into my life and showed me a pathway of how to eat to fuel my body, how to exercise to strengthen my body, but also how to be connected to my family in our home. And so he inspired me, and in 2015, I started Fight the Dad Bod to help coach men to live fit, healthy, and fulfilled lives with their family so that they could be present, engaged, and loving fathers in their home while also taking care of their own health.
Wow. So what influenced you to start the podcast, Daddy's Making a Difference?
I started Dad's Making a Difference in 2022 after, like I said, I had a health scare. I was working as a vice principal of a high school, and I started to have some things happen in my body. I had a lump in my neck that the doctors couldn't explain. I had some irregular heartbeat stuff, and I ended up having to take a medical leave, a leave of absence from my job so that I could take care of my medical condition. And it was through that time of stillness that I realized that men needed more than just health coaching from Fight the Dad Bod. They needed more than just fitness and nutrition coaching. These men had questions about, how do I be a better husband? How do I be a better, more present father? How do I manage the stress that I have from work and not bring that into my home? How do I make sure I'm providing for my family? And, of course, how do I build my spiritual life so that I have a good relationship with God? And so I decided in 2022 that Fight the Dad Bod was great in helping men take care of their physical health, but Dad's Making a Difference was going to be a program that could help them take care of their whole self. Like I said, spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually, financially. And in June of 2022, I launched the Dad's Making a Difference podcast, where I get to have conversations with amazing guests, bring them on to have interviews and learn from them and to share their knowledge with the men in our community. And so I've been blessed to do that now for almost 2 years. We're closing in. We have 110 episodes. Episodes go out live every week, and it's been a blessing to be able to connect with some amazing thought leaders, authors, business coaches, and successful individuals, and just some regular dads about what it means to balance life and be a good dad.
Well, that's great. So how do you integrate elements of families, finance, purpose, and relationship into your mission to inspire fathers towards a healthier life? How do you integrate this?
Yeah, so we integrate it through our connections with each other. I find that men for so long want to do things on their own. They do things in isolation. They feel that they're the lone wolf. They can go by themselves and make progress in their life. And that's not true. They can't do that. And so what they do in Dad's Making a Difference is we surround them with a group of brothers, a group of trusted advisors, men that we dive in every week on a call, and we talk about those 5 areas that you mentioned. We talk about how are we being more present in our personal lives? What are our personal goals? What are our relational goals with those around us, in our family, our friends, and our coworkers? What are our financial goals? What are our physical goals? What are we working towards physically in our health? And what are our financial goals so that we can, of course, provide for our families, but also give generously? And so we challenge each other to do that. We hold each other accountable through our weekly calls. We meet in person twice a year, where we do some amazing adventures together. And we integrate that all together with the idea of we're better together than we are alone, in that we want to build a life of significance. We want to leave a legacy. We want to make an impact, and we want to influence those around us, because God called us to show His love through what we do. And the way that we do the best work is if we're taking care of ourselves. And so we integrate it all together, and we have an amazing group of men who are committed to each other as a group of brothers, but also committed to their families and their communities.
That's great. So what motivated the launch of the Dads Making a Difference Mastermind in 2022, and how does it complement the Dads Making a Difference podcast?
So what motivated it was my own experience in masterminds. So I joined a group called Iron Sharpens Iron in 2021. Iron Sharpens Iron is a group of men. It's a mastermind program. It's made up of 150-something men. It's based out of the United States. At that point in time, I was the only Canadian as part of that group. And that group of men challenged me to think about serving others. It challenged me as a father. It challenged me as a husband. It challenged me in my spiritual life and my connection with God. And I could see that the men in my Fight the Dad Bod community needed something similar. They already knew me. They already trusted me. And so the Dad's Making a Difference Mastermind was actually built off of the recommendation and inspiration of a group that I was part of. And so that is how that came to be, through their encouragement and the modeling. And I did a thing called the Mastermind Playbook from Aaron Walker, which led me through how to set this up. And it coincides with the podcast because many of my past guests are members of Dad's Making a Difference. And so men who come on, share their stories, are really dads making a difference. They are men on a mission to impact the lives of other men, impact their families, impact their children, of course, and their wives, but also they are on a mission. They have a business, they have a book, they have some type of service that serves other fathers. And so that's who makes up Dads Making a Difference, and it's been an incredible experience.
Well, that's great. So, as a master educator and school leader for 16 years, how have your professional experience shaped your approach to leadership and balanced living?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I think about what I've learned in my journey in education, and what I've seen is a lot of kids. I've seen thousands and thousands of students over the 17 years. And I notice where students are lacking, and they're not lacking in their intelligence, and they're not lacking in their behavior. Students are lacking in their connection with strong men. A lot of the students who have the greatest struggles in their schooling and is because they don't have a strong father figure, they don't have a strong male role model in their life. And so I look at that and I think about how in my leadership role, I get to be a man who shows children how to care for each other, how to love their community, how to grow, how to challenge themselves. And as a leader in a school, I take it very close to heart, and it's very important for me to model what I believe a young man or a young woman should be, and how they should interact with others and care for other people. In the same way that God called us to take care of each other, I think even in a public school where I work, we're able to take care of others. And so those leadership characteristics, those leadership traits about putting people first, having hard conversations, holding people accountable, inspiring others to find their own dream and their own vision, all of those things translated very well into a coaching opportunity. So whether it was through Fight the Dadbot or in Dads Making a Difference, there's a lot of parallel in how leaders lead and how you lead conversations and you inspire others to maybe take risks and follow their own path and their own passion and their own why. And so I found that there's lots of parallels between the two, and it's been great that they've complemented each other. But there are also times where I see education, especially public education, as lacking in more the spiritual connection approach to finding who we are.
Wow, that's great. Oh, I have another questions I want to throw to you now, but I want you to elaborate on how the DMAD, that is That Making a Difference projects, guide men in growing spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially, and professionally and intellectually. How does this project guide them, or how? Just elaborate on how it guides them.
Yeah, so the way it guides them is that each one of those areas is a pillar of Dads Making a Difference. And so when men come in, we do a quick start guide. We get to know where they are. I think before you give anyone some guidance or people ask for advice, I think it's really important to know where they're starting off and what their context is. And so we want to connect with each other. We want to build relationships. And when you have strong relationships within the group, you can have open, honest conversations where we call them unfiltered conversations. So someone is struggling in their marriage. They can come to that call and bring it to their brothers in that group. Our groups are small. We have cohorts of, the most we have is 10 men in one group. And so they bring it to their group who they meet every week, and they just unfiltered say, hey, I'm struggling with this. And then the men in that group can speak into them, they can challenge them, they can offer insight, maybe a direction or a connection with somebody who can help them. And so we're better together and we network together to serve the few. And so financially, we have men in our group who are financial planners who will help the guys in the group. We have guys like myself who have backgrounds in fitness, nutrition, and health who can help coach guys in their fitness goals. We have men who are counselors and marriage therapists who can help in that. We have men who are PhDs and university professors who help on the intellectual level to help us think differently. And so in each one of those areas, we have men who have strengths who come into that group and share. And they come as givers. Guys don't come into the Dads Making Difference Mastermind as takers. It's not for takers. It's not for men to come in and just glean information and then go away. this is a group for givers, guys who want to give more of what they know, give more of their experience and their passion to the men that they're paired with. And so that's how we are able to challenge each other to grow in those areas.
That was good. Wow. So then our lessons then. How can one join this That's Making Difference group? How can one join?
Yeah, That's Making a Difference. They go to DMDmastermind.com and they fill out the application there. You can see lots of different information about the DMD Mastermind, some of our locations in which we meet in person. And then some men see that and they're like, this is a little too much. I just need to start with one thing. And so another way that they can connect is through social media, DMDmastermind.com, or through some social media at DadsMakingADifference, and they can hear more about the podcast. It's on all podcast platforms all around the world. It's Dad's Making a Difference podcast with Cam Hall, and you can just listen and dive in. You'll get a good feeling for what our community is like.
So is the joining, does it require any fee?
There is a fee, yeah. So our guys do pay a fee. There's a monthly investment to be part of that program.
Well, so you have to pay royalty in order to join. Like what? Like how much? What is the cost?
And that depends. We dive into that. Some of our guys are at different spots, and so if somebody's interested in the mastermind, I think the best way to find out if it's a fit is to go to dmdmastermind.com, fill out the application. It gives you some more information in that application. You also get our free time machine guideline that helps dads create more time in their schedule so they can be more present. So get that free guide, get that DMD time machine, fill out the application, and then after you fill out that application, you set up a call with me, and I can share a lot more information about what that mastermind looks like, and then we can talk about the finances and the investment and how we can make it work for you.
Okay, you said now it's a group that comprises of professionals.
Yes.
With from a lot of fields of life. So those people, are they the one charging for this fee, or the fee is just to keep the group going?
Yeah, the fee is just to keep the group going. And so in full transparency, the group is self-sufficient in that I don't make any money off of it. So we just charge enough so that our members, and we pay for our live events, we pay for the resources, and our members, everybody pays a monthly due to do that. But once you pay your monthly fee, everything else is included. So the live events are included in that, all the resources. We do a next chapter where we read a book every 2 months together, and we dive into that, and we send the books out to our members for free. So that monthly fee covers everything that's part of that experience. So all the conversations, all the experts, the network. And so guys come in, they're like, man, paying for this network is just worth it, being connected to these amazing individuals. So yeah, there's a monthly fee to it, a monthly investment, but that investment covers everything and anything in that mastermind.
Wow, that's good. That's good. So in what way do you experience in what way do your experience as a husband and father contribute to your perspective on personal development and its significance in men's life?
When I look at what it means to be a husband and a father, my own experience, nobody has it all figured out. No one's perfect. I'm most certainly not perfect when it comes to being a husband or a dad. But what I've learned is that through empathy, through an ability to ask questions, to seek understanding, and to really just be present with my family in the moments that I'm with them and learn more about them, that has shaped me to be a better dad. That has shaped me to be a better husband. And so what that does is I can take my experience with my own kids, I can take my experience in my school administrator with everybody else's kids where I get to work with them, and I can bring it together and have conversations with other men who are fathers all over North America, fathers who have large families, small families, single dads, married dads, and we can bring each other's context together. We have a better understanding for each other, and we have a better understanding of how we can help each other become better, stronger fathers. There's amazing men in our community, men who have grown up with no fathers, but they're amazing dads. And so we get into them like, how did you become a really great dad if you grew up with a single mom? And we learn about the power that our mothers have in our lives. My mom was such a deep influence in my life, and I love my dad, but my mom was such a deep influence for me. And so we bring in our own experiences, and I think there's value in other people's experiences and when you're trying to shape your own journey. And so we bring that all together, and that's why we really want to make a difference in our community. We make a difference through interactions and through building relationships.
Wow, thank you. We're coming to the last questions on this episode, and I believe maybe we can still add one question before we close. And I want to bring up the questions now. How do you envision collaborating to inspire an empowered audience through discussions about growth, leadership, and personal development on podcast?
So part of the collaboration process is finding people who have different perspectives than you do. I find that so often we'll collaborate with other leaders and thought leaders and professionals because we have something in common. It's easy. But I think the real power in collaboration comes when we collaborate with people who are different than we are, have different perspectives, different backgrounds. And so I think as we start to grow as leaders, as you grow as a leader, I grow as a leader, I think coming from a lens of not knowing as opposed to having all the answers is really important. So I always encourage men and women, I encourage them to enter into collaboration and conversations about leadership and growth through a lens of not knowing. What don't I know? What can I find out? What can I explore? Where can I seek understanding? And I think when you do that, you end up growing but more as a leader than if you came into that conversation, that collaboration as a taker or as a person who has all the answers.
Wow, thank you so much. So I want you to give us a take-home message for all the daddies. What is your take-home message?
My take-home message for dads is understand who you are. Understand your why. What drives you? What's your purpose? What's your passion? And then after you understand what your why is, I want you to really aim for growth, meaning do 1% changes every day that's going to get you closer to achieving your why. And you need to take ownership over your own journey. And that ownership means you know your why, you aim for growth, and you take ownership by doing the work necessary. It means connecting with the people you need to connect with. It means doing the work you need to do. And sometimes it means making some sacrifices that you need to make just to make sure that you are heading in the right direction of really fulfilling your why and your purpose.
That's great. We really want to appreciate you, but before you go, just give us how people can get connected to you through the social media, your website, and others.
Yes. So for Dad's Making a Difference on Instagram, at Dad's Making a Difference is the easiest way to connect with me with that. For Fight the Dad Bod, it's at Fight the Dad Bod on Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You can find at Fight the Dad Bod. The website's dmdmastermind.com for Dad's Making a Difference and fightthedadbod.com for Fight the Dad Bod.
Wow, thank you so much, Cam Hall. Great guest. We enjoyed your submission on this interview, and you've given us a lot of details about what you do. That making a difference is a very important podcast and a very vital one. And thank you for your experience. You are a great father. We so much appreciate you, and we hope we will be wanting to have you again on this platform, because we know that you still have a lot to still give to us. We want you to. We believe that anytime we call upon you, your door will be open to us for us to come in. Thank you so much. Thank you as we've been. This is Season of Change, transforming your life by the power and the word of God. All our audience, you can also follow us on Facebook, it's Season of Change. On Instagram, it's Season of Change, and all the platforms. and streaming platforms. So thank you so much. Till we meet again on another episode. Thank you so much, Kampo. God bless you. Stay calm.